Today we're going to be talking about fiscal policy, so be sure to follow along in your interactive notebook on macroeconomics. Prior to this, we have studied the four economic indicators: gross domestic product, inflation, unemployment, and the business cycle. All of those indicators, or symptoms of the economy, has told us if the economy is healthy or sick. Now we're at the point where we're looking at the policies that correct any of the sickness of the economy. Fiscal policy is the first policy that we'll be looking at. What is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is the government policies regarding spending and taxation, and they are intended to either improve or maintain the economy. We want our economy stable, and it's up to the government to fix it. These decisions have a huge impact on the economy. Well, who makes the fiscal policies decisions? I've already said that it is the national government. It's the president, the cabinet, Congress, which includes the House of Representatives and the Senate. What are the goals of fiscal policy? The first goal is to have low employment. The second goal is to have stable prices and low inflation. The third is economic growth, high GDP, and high production. Fiscal policy and the economy. Government can either help increase or decrease the spending in the economy. And they do so by two different policies. The first is expansionary policies. This is when the federal government wants to increase output of the economy. This is when the economy is not doing well and they want to fix it. They want to increase an output of a not very healthy economy. The other policies are contractionary policies. This is when they want to decrease the output of the economy. It's when the economy is too hot, meaning inflation is too high. So let's take a look at the two different categories of policies. The first one's being an expansionary policy. This is used during a contraction or a recession, and the government can do two things during this time period. It can also take place during a depression or a trough, any point at the business cycle that the economy is not doing very well. The first thing that they can do is decrease taxes. They decrease taxes, in turn, giving people more money in their paychecks, and in turn, they want to be able to have those people spend more money to stimulate the economy. The second thing that they can do is increase government spending. They can increase government spending by providing more government jobs, by providing more revenue into the economy. This is done during a contraction or a recession. When the economy is doing poorly, you are going to want to do expansionary policies. Again, when the economy is doing poorly, you want to expand it, therefore doing expansionary policies. On the flip side, you want to look if the economy is speeding up too quickly. For example, high inflation. If the economy is experiencing rapid growth and rapid inflation, similar to Venezuela, the government wants to impose contractionary policies. This is used during a period of expansion or excessive inflation, GDP, and the government can do one of two things: increase taxes, and by doing so, you will not give people enough money to go out and spend. The second thing is decrease government spending, cut government spending down, and that will slow the amount of money in circulation. During a period of expansion or a really high peak or excessive inflation, the federal government will choose to do contractionary policies. Let's take a look at a few examples. Here's the example one. Most people are employed. People are spending more money than ever before. They're buying very high priced goods, and many retailers have found that they can charge higher prices. Our first problem here is high inflation. As we said before, the prices are very high. So what is the federal government to do? They are to decrease government spending and increase taxes. Let's look at example number two. By the late 1979, a recession began. During this time, orders for goods were declining and inventories were increasing. Many people are left searching for work. What's the problem? Cyclical unemployment or a recessionary period, as I said in the headline. What's the solution? The solution at this point is to increase government spending and decrease taxes. Let's take a look at number three. The United States is a deep depression that is greater than the one in the 1930s. The problem is a depression. What's the solution? Expansionary policies. They want to increase government spending and decrease taxes, giving people more money and the chance to stimulate the economy. Looking back at the circular flow, you know that that's how the transfer of money is happening. It needs to get into the hands of the consumers, therefore, then prompting the producers to sell more. Let's look at the last example. Or the next example. HOTS and VOTEC students are, as well as most part of the students around the world, are being paid high wages at fast food restaurants. Many of these students are willing to pay high prices for cars, junk food, and clothes. The problem in this story is inflation. Prices are very high, as it says. What's the solution? Contractionary policies, decrease government spending, and increase taxes. During the last 6 months, the consumer price index has increased by 10%. This example is tricky because you have to look at the consumer price index, meaning that it's the measurement of inflation. 10% inflation is very high. So the problem is inflation, and we need to slow down the economy to make it stable. So our solution is contractionary policies, decrease government spending, and increase taxes. Let's recap one more time what fiscal policy is. It's how the president and Congress controls the economy. They use expansionary policies to increase economic growth in a recessionary time period. Contractionary policies are used to slow down economic growth, and that is used in expansion or high inflation periods. Fiscal policy is one of the two policies that are used in macroeconomics to help with the stability of the government. Thanks for watching.